Right, we're beginning our first conversation today. We're joined by somebody who is a familiar face, familiar voice. She is Njeri Mwangi, and we describe her as a producer and a storyteller, an active citizen, and somebody who has been behind some of the bigger conversations of national interest, of social justice, and of social impact. She'll tell us why she's here with us today. Good morning, Njeri.
Good morning.
Yes.
Such a pleasure to be here this morning.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. You
yes,
see?
it continues.
Yeah, we can.
Until June.
Not June. My argument was Valentine's. Then he said you can say Happy Valentine's Day, then say and Happy New Year.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we just push it to
Quarter
Labor
one.
Day?
Yeah.
Quarter one.
Quarter one.
Quarter one.
Quarter one is safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Njeri, you're here, so we talk about the Matu musical.
Yes.
And it's a satire telling our political history through satire. People who have spent some time writing a script and acting it out, and it'll be showcased from this weekend. A lot to learn. But first, Jano.
Yes, the
Do
quote.
the drill. She knows the drill.
She knows the drill. She's like, oh, no, it's a quote. All it is a quote and your interpretation of the quote. This is Rosa Parks. Somebody, I'm like, Jerry's like, I know I've followed her story or people like her, you know, a civil rights activist. She once said, I will no longer act on the outside in a way that contradicts my truth in the inside. What do you make of that? Is that how... When did you start living that way? Do you feel like what I hold on the inside, that's what I show on the outside, as Njeri?
Absolutely. I think for me, it goes 20 years back. I think I grew up very comfortably and I assumed everyone lived like that, you know. I grew up in Buru, Islando, Umo, Uburu. But then I realized the other side, just next to Buru, Umo, there was a whole life I knew nothing about. And realizing that, I was like, okay, people shouldn't be living like this. Can we do something about this? And what do we do about that? So I think my journey for the last 20 years has been one that helps bring stories to life, one that dignifies people, one that empowers people, finds fun in it at the same time, but also just showing that there's different perspectives of life. People are living very different lives. Some are really struggling and some are not really struggling, you know. But we need to lift each other every way we can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really well put. That's powerful. I know.
Yes, yes. Not forgetting, you know, where you've come from, and not forgetting that there are very many people with different experiences, perspectives, and some of them may not be new. There's a historical context to how somebody is living today,
right,
and how they ended up there. Which brings us to what you and others have done with this musical, the Matu musical. Just with a minute, what is the Matu musical? And then we shall go back.
It's really a journey of where Kenya has been since independence. So what were Kenyans hoping for when they were fighting for independence, and what did they get, and what have we continued to get since then, and the participation of Kenyans, and how we have brought ourselves to this moment, basically in a nutshell.
So it's a history of Kenya.
It's a history of Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why in a musical, and how in a musical actually? Like, do we sing like "Ilikuwa December" and then we end?
Wow, you're quite funny. There's a bit of that. So yes. And we've sung through, I mean, even when you talk of Rosa Parks, when you talk about the struggle, people have sung through their times. That is how we hold those moments, and how we get through, how we survive through struggle, through pain, through joy. That's how we express ourselves as a people. So it's a musical because that's how we find expression. But then also it's in a musical because it's easier to tell it that way. It's playful, it's fun, and it's loaded. It's the best way to compact it, and it takes us through the times that we've been in, the songs that we're singing back in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s. And actually, even yesterday, when people were there, you could hear people joining in, you know? And it was fun, and when people were done, they were laughing, like, eh,
They knew the songs.
Ah, yeah, they knew the songs,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Which songs are these? Are these the cultural songs, the patriotic songs that we used to sing at national events?
Mostly the patriotic songs we used to sing at national events, yes.
That's a very easy way to sell something like that.
I was not very far
Yes.
with my Ilikuwa December.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You're quite funny. Well, it also tells your age. It also tells your age. I'm just saying.
Just saying it tells your age. But I love that because generationally, so
Yes.
Latif would sing that and then somebody younger might
Yes.
resonate with something
Yes.
more recent. I know he said that we'll go back a bit, but I'm just, what does it take to put together something like that? You know, you're thinking through everything from how to capture what elements of history, how to put them in song. Who do you work with like that? Are you working with musical directors? Are you working with Matatu sector guys also to just get a sense of how to integrate it? Take us through a little bit of how something like this can come together.
I think it's been exciting and scary for me at the same time. I'm an actress in my past life. I was an actress, I was a singer, and I was also a dancer. So you have all these creatives in the play, but also the ecosystem is so much bigger. Like you said, it's people who do matatu. So what does it look like? It's people in construction. It's people who've come to put together the paint. It's people graphics, what you're seeing on social medias, but also what you will see when the matatu is moving and what's behind. So you can see motion. And it's come together. It's people doing lights. It's people doing sound. So it's a lot of mastery of all of that. And putting all of that together, because I was always I was on stage, not backstage, not in production. So it's been very interesting to see how we bring that together and the people that we bring in and the passions that they bring in. But I think for me, my highlight has been working mostly with these young people. The cast is very young. They're average age 23, 24, and they're so passionate, but also the learning of the play, like, oh, what was this about? Atimlidu, ayaje, and then, and they've gone back to history to read, to study, to, you know, to find out more than what's in the play. But I think also the script writer, who is George Njeri, and we worked with Njeri for a very long time. The way he's passionate and the way he's been wanting to tell this story. For so long, we've talked about this play, and I'm like, hey, Manzi, I don't know how we're going to hack this, because it's also very expensive to put it together. And bringing the artists together, so the auditions, who is going to audition, how do we put out the auditions, how do we say what are the characters that we need, then audition that, and they have to be able to sing and dance and act at the same time. So it's one person who can do three things at the same time,
Okay,
right?
So
and how he's able to tell that story. So you also bring people who do history, and they're able to place things right so that you're telling the right story. Because it's like a masterclass. It's a very quick class of history.
Okay.
And I think that's what's been so exciting about it.
That's been important. Again, just before Latif comes in, another question is, why now? I'm trying to think about the timing of, you know, I know you said it's been a work in progress, but I'm thinking about what the last 2 years have done in this country, just sort of like shaking things. We've seen what the protests did. We're now heading into an election. Was that sort of like a sweet spot in terms of timing? Is there a part of you that was like, maybe we need to tell this story now, so that you can center people into what's important as we transition into this interesting space that the country is going through?
There was never a right time per se.
Okay.
But like you said, this is a sweet spot. Like it just happened at the right time with everything that's going on in the country. And I think even as we move forward, knowing where we've come from is very important, so that it helps us know where we're going. It helps us see what we have achieved and why we need to fight for it, why we need to defend it. And even as we think of the leaders that are coming, because the idea of the matatu is the driver is the president. We, the passengers, are the ones, we're all in this thing together. So we need to rally together, bring in that president, bring in the leaders that are going to take us in the direction that we're going. Get leaders that are talking to the people. Start talking to our leaders, because the leader comes in and just drives. I will take this bus where I will go. I'll take this material where I will go. Hey, Nani, 20, we are going where I said we are going, and this is how we are going. So buckle up or get out. And if you're not on board, shuka. And if we don't like you on board being, however, tutakushukisha pia, you know. And so what do we do about that as a people? What do we do about that as a nation?
Powerful.
I'm thinking through so the story is Kenya's historical journey from independence to today, right?
Correct.
So, but through whose lens? Because there are very many perspectives that, you know, you could just think about, and various political moments in this country. Is it through the lens of ordinary citizen? Is it through the lens of a politician, of a civil servant, of a civil society? Through whose lens are we seeing this journey?
So the play is through the lens of the citizen, because they're the ones saying what they've wanted and saying the leaders that they have chosen and seeing themselves as how they are passengers and what kind of passengers they are. Because it's really the people. Kenya, every country is built by its people. Yeah, we're the ones who accept how we shall live. We have a social contract, so we accept how we are going to live together. We're the ones who allow our leaders to be the leaders that they will be. We allow ourselves to be governed the way we are governed. So it's really through the lens of the citizen and their experiences and their struggles. And yes, you do get to see the leader as well, and the leader gets to speak. And their leaders, not just one leader, but leaders get to speak, and you also see them, but mostly it's through the eyes of the citizen.
In the research of this, how deep do we go? So if we are seeing this through the lens of the citizen, the citizen's wokeness has changed over time.
Yeah.
Right? So the citizen of 1963, are we seeing how they participated in choosing their government? Are we seeing how the citizen of the later 60s was responding to what was happening? The swallowing of Kadu by KANU, the fallout by Jaramogi and Mzee. Do we see those? Do we see them from the what is the citizen feeling as they observe this, or are we seeing the citizen actually influencing the change?
That's a very good question. You see yourself in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s. You hear yourself, you see what you were doing. And one of the beautiful things that the writer was able to do was to position even the women in the struggle. Because you don't hear, you don't see, they're not very visible. But he was able to place them in a way that is very instrumental. You see their struggle, you see their voice. And even you as a citizen, as you watch this play, it's not like something you're hearing about, because you're in the matatu. The theater itself is the matatu, yeah, and we are all in it. And even when we started yesterday, we were asked how many people were born in the 60s, and there was some people in the 60s, others in the 50s even, because I didn't think that people from the 50s, but we had people in the audience from the 50s, yeah, all the way up to now. And so as we go back, the way people engage, because it's also very interactive. The way people engage with it, you can hear them. They're like, yeah, they feel the moments because they're in those moments, because they were there. Either you were young or you were much older, you understood, or you understood a time when your parents, something was going on, and it's very well put. So we go very categorical from the 60s, this is what's happening, 70s, 80s, 90s, up to now. Well, we don't come up to now, but it's told from the lens of the Gen Z today, that this is what happened. So then you see Mama Kenya from the 60s. Let me tell you about this story. In the 60s, before independence, we used to live this way. And she goes on about that. And then she takes you through that journey. And you see how you transition from the 60s. And she's from the 60s and she's here now. So she's telling the story to her grandchildren about what happened and what she has seen. And as she's telling you this, then it unfolds and you see what's going on at that moment. Yeah.
So how was the research done? Was it talking to people? Was it reading? Was it a combination of all? And how far back? I mean, that's why I was asking about the depth. If it's about getting people's perspectives, looking to people who are alive in the 60s and getting their perspective, have you cut across the various, different kinds of people, the social status of people? And if it's reading and researching books, how many of these kind of historical books are we reading? What kind of material are we? So we have a holistic story that's not just a one-sided, one perspective story.
So from the writer's perspective, because he didn't just think about it and let me remember, what can I remember about this? So he talked to historians. He also read some books. I don't know which books he did. I wish he was here. Now I'm like, he should have been seated right here, because he'd have been able to talk about the script. But it talks from pre-independence. So touches a little bit from pre-independence and then going into independence. And he's mostly done a lot of reading on that and talked to a lot of people on just so that you verify the information that is then on the play. So it goes as far back as the pre-60s, let me say 60s, early 60s, and then independence, and then coming down that way. Yeah.
I'm always no, this is just more of a reflection. I love history. I realize that I think I love history for the moments, but I think there's something beautiful about understanding what led to those moments.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine sometimes how jarring. Sometimes I speak to my parents and I'm just like, when you talk about the moment you've lived through, it's jarring. You know, my dad will talk about everything from where he was when he heard about the assassination of JFK and then the death of Jomo Kenyatta. I don't know. I'm always very captivated by people who were alive during the most pivotal moments. Is there a certain moment in this play that you feel has landed with people, not that we're doing spoilers, but something that really made people say, man, I cannot get that moment out of my head, either because of how it was communicated or what it meant for the country?
Well, it does have some moments. Let me think about that for a second. There's one scene, gosh, this feels like a spoiler alert.
That's why I was just like, no spoilers. Say broadly. We're taking a break, so this will give you a moment to see to think about it. Njeri Mwangi is in studio. We're talking about basically just satire and storytelling and how we're able to capture the journey and the history of Kenya, what it meant then, what it means now, what it will mean going forward. It's coming up to 7:30 a.m. We'll come back and continue that conversation. 100. Just before we get back into conversation with Njeri Mwangi, a bit of feedback. Bibi Usuni says, good morning fixers, na wasalimia kutoka Pwani na Chuda. Sema Tudor.
Tudor.
Yeah. I'm listening this morning as you begin with Njeri Mwangi in the arts world. Very refreshing indeed. That's what she says. Maura Simon says 5,000 graduates is not even a third of all unemployed graduates. The president needs to be sent back. His manifesto is full of lies. Okay, that's his opinion. That's what he's telling us today. And we have a few others who've commented, especially on some of the stories that we ran a little bit earlier on. But yeah, let's get back into our conversation.
Yeah, we're talking about the Matu musical, which is a play that's at the Kenya National Theatre. But the importance of this is teaching history through theatre, through satire. I mean, there are many. The KNT actually usually hosts very many of these over the years, and different aspects, whether it's looking at just one assassination, whether it's looking at a story of somebody who was there in history, a historical figure, whether it's looking at a journey through a certain part. This is looking at our journey as Kenya in the last 60, how many years? Since independence,
yes.
Right? And telling it from that satirical part of it. Where is the satire in this? I mean, because I see the satire in different ways, like XYZ.
Right.
Current affairs in satire. Where is the satire in this particular sort of like musical? And then you shall answer what Jano had asked you earlier.
I was hoping we were going to gloss over that question.
The spoiler question.
Yeah, that one I was hoping like, oh, thanks, you saved me from that one. But yeah, we'll come to it. I think the way the story is told, the humor, and you see, stories used to be told by Amade or Rafade around the fire, and they tell you, let me tell you about this. So it's how it's told in the language that it uses. Wacha ni washo wase. Unakumbuka vile, and everyone is listening like, yeah. So it's one person or different people sharing the story perspective, and the rest remembering and how they remember it, and then they play it out. You know, there's a lot of storytelling in it, in terms of it's one person narrating about a certain time and what was happening, and then the others acting out that moment in the best way they can, in some very painful moments, in some very laughable moments, like tear-jerking moments for a banner. Yeah, and then it's in the music as well and the dance. So it's very involving, it's very engaging in that sense. Yeah.
For somebody who maybe finds what they went through school, they just didn't enjoy. Being told to recall you when JM died, you recalled you when did Kenyatta die, when did the first elections. Are there aspects that are just not that you know, that history that has been told from the political side, politicians telling our history, like our own life. For example, when are we seeing the transition of the Matatu?
Yes. Oh, yes.
No.
You see the transition
and
of
such
Matatu.
others, like the development of estates,
Yes.
or school and such.
Not so much school, but yeah, you see the development, the people in play, and the characters. You see the change of characters.
We see them aging.
You see them aging.
Nice.
You see how they speak. You know, the impersonation. I want to sound the way Eric sounds, so I dress like Eric. I may not be called Eric, or I may be called something that sounds like Eric, but everybody knows who we are talking about. The dressing, the timing that you come in, we're like, that's Eric, that's Moi, that's Kibaki, because of the sound, but also at what point they come in, who comes after who. So you can just see the way they dress, the way they come in, the way they speak, what they say, you will hear it. You will remember a time when that president said what they say, and that takes you back like that. So it's the combination of that is so great. It's so fascinating. And it does take you to those moments of, well, I don't like to remember this. And there are people who remember it so well, and there are others who will be like, oh, so that's what happened. Okay. So it's both down memory lane, and for some it's like a history class. Yeah, for the younger ones, of course. So even for those who are younger, who didn't know anything about this at all,
they're like,
because when you say Tomboya, they say who? Who? You know, you say Piogama Pinto, who? You say Willy Mutunga, they're like, who's that?
So this is also a way of like how political consciousness has been formed,
Yes.
right, for a lot of people. And I know that, you know, plays historically in this country and satire has pushed that envelope to a point where it would be shut down and that kind of thing. Do you hope to see this as the next chapter in which we can just kind of reclaim a history that oftentimes is either over-edited or not told in our voice? Can something like this begin to revive that?
I think this is it, actually.
Okay.
Because art helps you see yourselves. All right? It helps you speak for you. And it's really a mirror, right? So by putting out this play, we get to know, we get our voice back. We get our history right. We get our history back. And we repurpose and remember where we are going and remember where we've come from. Because you don't value what you haven't paid for. You know, even people who haven't paid for classes, those ones that are free, they don't show up. But if you pay, even if it's 2,000 bob for a class that is 50,000 bob, for that 2,000 bob, you will show up. So you remember what you've paid for. But if there's nothing that you've paid for, if you can't see the cost, then
You don't value what you
don't
haven't paid
value
for.
it. So by us showing this in this way, and I hope that this is not just a beginning, but there'll be a continuation of this, that there'll be more plays, even in the music, in all our art, that we are able to tell those stories, and that we're able to see and go back in time and value what we have now. That people can draw the president in the paper today, and we all laugh about it, and the president takes no big deal about it. There was a time you could not think about it. Ukikani kama unafikiria hivyo, you have not even said anything, but you look like that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, we'll smell your thoughts and you will understand.
Yes.
Maybe I'll ask this question, the question I'd asked earlier. I don't know whether this asks it differently, but I was curious as to, because it's about the reactions.
Yeah.
What reaction for this one has stood out most for you or has mattered most to you? Is it anger? Is it the laughter? Is it the introspection? And if so, what moment kept coming up and you'd see kind of like that same reaction? So I've asked kind of like a two-pronged. So which one landed? You're like, wow, that laughter, it's important that they're laughing at this, or it's interesting, or it's sad.
Yeah.
I know our reactions are our reactions, but again, they are also a reflection of how we perceive said moment. So has there been a moment where the reaction kind of landed with you? And what moment was that?
And maybe you could even start with, as you are preparing this, the cast and crew, like at some point as you guys are rehearsing and all, people resonated with certain moments. I know that translated as well with the audience yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. Without spoiler,
It's really stressed.
Because I've really, Njeri many stress.
It's quite stressed.
And I think even for me, the way I've had this story and the way then the script brought it out and the way then it was played out, really like, and it's where you see what happened in Mpeketoni and how the struggle and who was losing their land. How did they lose it? The defiance and I'm not giving up this land, and how the young children of the time thought this was about, yay, this is looking good. I love it. Is it true we're going to get this? And their parents are dying. They know what they're losing, but the children are not seeing that. They think this is so great. This is now what we can expect. And then how the elder leaves and that moment that sinks, oh my God. And even during the rehearsals, it was so morbid. The moment was so solid. It was so heavy. Yeah? Because that transition, you're trying to hold space for excitement of hope and newness coming in, and then you're seeing what you're losing. This is gone. It's forever gone. And the way they just held that moment in song, it's so, I don't know what to say. It's that moment really stood out for me. And from that point on, the way it transitions even after. So it gave me an understanding of what Mpeketoni and Mpekatoni. I knew it was Mpekatoni, but just the way it's told, I'm like, wow.
Wow.
It took everything away and brought me to that moment. And the losses, more the loss than any gain, because the generation that came after and what they thought they were gaining. And that transition is very carefully taken, yeah? And for me, that's what I love about that. So that's my moment. It's a sad moment, and even the audience I feel like we were in that moment. We actually, yesterday, we had a technical hitch at that moment. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Wow. Like, wait, gosh, I know we are acting, but wait, gosh. Yeah? And we were all back in that day, in that moment. And even the actresses and the actors brought it so well. So I think that's my moment in that play. There's other moments, but that particular moment really stood out for me. Yeah.
It's heavy. You've taken me there. You've taken me to wanting to just see it. There was another question I was going to ask about history, but I almost want to bring this to you as Njeri, and we'll come back to the musical because I think it's so important to still ask a few questions around it. This has been your background. You said you've been an actress and singing, but you've also produced some really compelling documentaries. Approach-wise, mind shift-wise, I guess the two questions are what was it like being able to put that hat down for a bit and go back into this, number one, and number two, are there any comparisons around emotion and truth and communication that hold for both documentary making and making something like this?
I think, let me start with your second question, comparison in terms of emotion. I think emotion is emotion, right? You're happy, you're sad because of something that happened. And for me, while telling the stories I do, I take you back to a place where you don't want to be, to a place you left, and finding the importance of telling that story. Why is it important that you go back there? Because it may be for you, it's a place you go back and say, you know what, I patched things up, or I took off, I ran, and now you're bringing me back here. So I slowly take you back, but now you're not alone. So we walk with you in that moment where whatever happened. And then the healing, you walk out feeling a little lighter. In as much as I get very emotional, and I know I've been called out for being emotional, I'm like, but you're talking to people. It's not a play. Even in a play, you're talking about real life, something that happened, something that broke people, a great loss. So in terms of comparison, I think emotion is emotion. And it feels you how it feels you. It catches you how it catches you. Because what is it that is touching you about, why does it make you cry? Why does it make you laugh? Why does it make you think back? What are you relating with? Because it's something that you're relating very personally and very deeply with, right? So I think in terms of comparison, it's how you connect with that story, the way it's told. And it's important to connect with that story because then that's what makes it personal for you. That's what determines that, okay, from today on, I will never be able to look at this in the same way. And in storytelling, you honor the struggle that has come before you, right? You honor who did what, how, and why, because it answers all of that. And you can be able to say, wow, now I can appreciate that we got independence, or now I can appreciate that we can hold our phones and say what we can. We have freedom of speech, and I don't want to lose that because what losing it looks like is detention, is torture, is all those things, and I won't be able to speak my truth, and I can't be able to connect with other people. Yeah. So in that sense, I'd say that's the importance of that. I think what was the other question?
The other one was just the approach, how you had to shift your mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think this carries a nation, you know, to a time, and it's we're in motion as a country right now. I dare say as a region, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, our neighboring countries, we are in a very deep transition, very uncertain times. I think even drawing from the US, everything that's happening in the world, we're living through a very uncertain times. I think it feels worse than COVID. Yeah, COVID, we knew what it was when it came. It was this one thing, and we were, as a human race, it was us and COVID. With this one, it is factions. It's many things against
defined.
Other people, and you don't know what will land for who. You know, even those who think they have the power, you don't know what will land where when. Yeah, and that uncertainty right now is what this is. So in this play, I think that uncertainty and that carrying the nation to tell you, look where we've come from. This is what we are going through, and this is why we need to be careful how we transition. Yeah, because if we transition the way we've transitioned, and in the play you see how we've been transitioning, and how, as wasi tumekaa tu kwa matri, you know, we're just chilling, not caring, or how are we caring, or what are we caring about? And you see even in the matatu the way we get divided, and how we're like, hey, by the way, suddenly we have a common enemy. Yeah, and now we are one. But then something happens there, you start picking up what, you get so distracted, and you lose focus, and then what does that do to us? But the driver is not losing focus. Yanajua kile anataka. But do you guys know what you want? So long as you're fighting, me, I'll just keep driving.
Yeah, I'll keep moving.
Yeah, because anyway, you're not even asking me, because it's us. We're fighting so much amongst ourselves. Whether I take a corner here, or go downhill, or jump out and let you fall.
That is
you guys
very
are not
important symbolism.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just thinking about the role of arts and theater in documenting history and also in storytelling. If you look back at when Uhuru and Ruto were campaigning, this young, and they were calling themselves the digital, team digital, and the others were team analog. One of the things that we pushed for was that we're going to revive the arts and culture. Well, some work was done with the Kenya National Theatre then, and now it's now the Kenya Cultural Center.
Yeah.
It's about that. It's a recognition of the importance of keeping our culture and telling the culture. But it ends there. It's only in Nairobi. How many other theaters do we have where you could actually go and stage this musical across the country? Government.
KNT.
Right?
It's just KNT, KCC.
It's just the Kenya Cultural Center
in
Nairobi, nowhere else. So what does that do to us in terms of telling these stories? Because there are different ways in which you consume a story. You can read, you can watch, audiovisual content, or you can actually sit and watch it being played out like it's happening here. And having different people telling the different, you can tell the same story from 4 different people. It's important. In fact, let it be told by 10 different people. So you have very many contexts to that story. Now, what do you think we need to do so that such is not lost?
Yeah.
Because there's sort of that feeling like if we don't do something about it, it's going to get lost.
Yeah.
If we don't have individuals such as Njeri and Joji coming together and saying, let's do something, it's going to get lost.
Yeah.
If we don't have a structured way in which there's support for the arts and culture, now it's for you to actually think, and then you pitch somewhere and you get the support that you need to produce and to showcase and to take it on a roadshow across the country. It's going to die.
Well, that's sad and true. And I think it's more sad that it is true. Because, like you rightfully say, it's got to be a national importance that we're able to document so that we can see our story. We can see where we've come from. We can celebrate. And more so even our cultures. I mean, we're 44 tribes. Imagine the diversity. Yet that is what has been used to divide us. But the cultural differences are so interesting. They're so amazing. It's what you eat. It's the music you dance to. It's how you dance. It's the order, hierarchy of the family. It's how you do weddings. It's how you do funerals.
Yep.
You know, it's how you do child naming, right? It's so many things. It's beautiful, but yet it's a thing that has been used to divide us. And sadly, as years go by, we are forgetting where we've come from. And I'm not talking about politically. Yeah, we're forgetting our cultures.
Yep.
We're forgetting, last year, my young son came of age. Yeah, he got circumcised and came of age. And the ceremony that we did, it was like a masterclass. While it was happening,
Yep.
and it made me sad.
It's like the parents are also learning
Yes.
about that culture with their son.
Right.
Yeah, and our sons are not even with it the way we are with it, because even the language, they don't understand it the way we do.
Yeah.
That's those of us who can understand our mother tongue, right? And it was so intense and deeply spiritual, and it was so sad that even I didn't know this. In fact, it was my brother and my sister. Our kids came of age at the same. They were born the same year, so they were getting circumcised last year, and that ceremony and the way it was conducted, it made me so sad. Yeah, and everyone was taking notes like, Ati alafu, what does that mean? People translate that. And yet it's supposed to be our lifestyle, it's how we live.
Yep.
But we can't go back to that. So it's important that we document this in every way possible. We write it. There are people who are writing books. Where can these books be found? Where are they where are they kept? Who is writing them? How is it being written? There's plays that are being done. How are they documented? That it can be, once that play is done, you can show it on
find it
TV,
somewhere. Yep.
you know? And people can watch and see, and it is on YouTube. It can be available. People can watch and see. But then again, for me, it's usually the creators of all this, because now it's also a way of life. It's a career. Are these people able to make money? Once we stage this play, it's a weekend long. It's been a 1-month engagement. Then what? Can you live off that? How many times can we do this? Is it possible? But if there was many spaces, even for rehearsals, for performances, then you're able to, it's continuation. Because there's demand for these things everywhere. There's a stage for it, whatever the size of stage, in music, in poetry, in dance, in theater, in so many ways, in film, in documentaries. So we've got to be intentional to keep that. But where do we archive it? Who's going to archive it?
There's all that. And I always look at it from the point of we have created for ourselves a government, okay? And that government should be the one that does many things to support. So we have to think how to push for policy that supports these things. Yesterday we had a conversation with Chief Nyamwea, who's also doing the same kind of thing. He is producing content for young children in culture, just teaching. The show that they're doing now is called what? Let me just remember, because he was here yesterday. It's called Uli and Tata. So Uli and Tatas, it's a series where it's animation, kids going to different places and learning children's songs in those cultures, in those languages, right? Such need to be documented, such need to be supported, such need to be supported from a policy perspective by government, that there are structures that people like you, the creatives, can tap into. You find resources that have been mobilized either through taxpayer and other external support. If the corporate sector would like to support this, they need to have a framework which they can support, so that you can move and you just come and pitch. How much do you need for this? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Does it make commercial sense? Does it make historical sense? So this one is for public good.
Right.
This is public good plus commercial. So then we are able to get more of these productions done.
Yeah.
And then what you've said beyond that, how many other spaces do we have that people can see this? After this weekend, say Matatu Musical is very, very successful.
And it will be.
There will be demand for you to show it again.
Yeah.
And then there will be the questions of now, those in Nakuru, those in Njeri, those in Busia, those in Kakamega, in Kisumu, in Mombasa, in Malindi, in Mpeketoni, can I get to see the musical? There's nowhere they can go and stage it. You have to go and set up an entire dome and tent and gig.
Everything that the two of you are saying, it's making me upset and hopeful in tandem.
Yes,
because there's such important truths that you've both spoken to. And I know we're going into a break. Njeri will stay with us, by the way. She's going to stay with us into the hour. The other thing that Eric mentioned I was going to ask about is sometimes, talking about policy. Can a play like this, what kind of impact can it have, if not policy? Is that usually priority? If it isn't, what is the other priority in terms of what impact it can have? And then we'll also talk about, again, the point he's raised about how widespread these kinds of plays can be. I know that we were, I think, when we all went to Kisumu, Latif, I think, stayed back for the governor's conference. Mariam and I went ahead and did a town hall, and it was at one of these sort of town halls in the center. And they were also talking about what they're trying to do to revive it, because they also don't feel like they have a space. So let's come back and kind of unpack that and hopefully find some ideas on how this can be a lot more accessible to Kenyans from across the board. It's coming up to 8 a.m. You're watching Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time. We'll be back in conversation with Njeri Mwangi soon. We are back in conversation. I was going to go on the comments. My YouTube has frozen.
Freeze.
Yeah. Yangu freeze. Labda ni bundles. Ni sawa. Oopsies.
Well, it's some people commenting about the internship program, and we're saying that they'd like to hear what is going to be said here. Some, like Charles Nungo, saying, well, this is the year of truths and fighting mediocrity. In my opinion, almost every aspect of the current government is mediocre. and that we are dragging ourselves into the same space.
Oh, wow. That's Charles. Yeah, Charles keeps it. He's consistent with pushing back.
And fighting mediocrity.
That's his bit in Fixing the Nation.
That's his bit. Yeah. So, Njeri, we were talking about the, Matatu Musical and looking at our history and our lifestyle as it has changed over the years. And as we're looking at Mariam, talking to those young men and women who have gone through school and now they're starting their internship and coming into this affordable housing. And the question that she was asking them, what is affordable housing? We asked ourselves here, what is housing really? From the perspective of what Jano, you saw when we went to Mukuru, and the people who are there saying, this is what I've been doing and this is the kind of life I've been living. Njeri, in your storytelling as well, you have gone to places where people are not living the life that many in Nairobi think that we are all living. Tell us that experience as well, because it's part of our history, and it's part of some of the things that have happened in the past have informed and led to where we are as a country today.
You reminded me just when you were asking that about dignity. And one time when I was telling the story from Kilifi, we went to visit this elderly couple who the husband had wanted to be, not had wanted, there was an attempt to kill him, and he had survived. And so when I got into that, I don't know what it was like a kitchen, but it was open. The walls had so many holes. there was a part of the roof that was not there at all. And I wondered why we're using that space. But I was told, hapo ndio wanapikianga. That is like a complete...
That's a kitchen.
Yeah? The bathroom was so far, and this is an elderly couple. Elderly, they were in their 70s, 80s. And then there was another construction that was where they sleep. But you could like see through. Well, granted, it's in Kilifi, so it's hot. But I was like, when you talk of dignity in housing, surely, a roof, very basic things, a roof over and a wall to keep the elements out. You can sit in there and be warm. You don't get rained on. There are no bugs getting in. You can sleep. Yeah? And then there was no seats. There was I remember there was a mtungi, a 20-liter. So I wanted to do this interview standing, but this elderly couple, the one who I was interviewing, had been abused, so he couldn't stand for long. So we needed to sit. They were sitting on stones. And I was like, it took me a moment to reposition myself, to be present here where I was, because how is that? How do people live like that? Yet there's so many people who live like that and call a place like that home, you know? So when you talk of affordable housing and dignity in housing, I think that's what dignity in housing needs to look like. It needs to be, yeah? That you have a room, and you know, middle class, me, I've grown up with a bathroom in my house. When we went to Shags, it wasn't far, but it was not in the house.
It's
but
external, but just within, and a decent one.
And it was decent, you know. But there are people who go far, have to share it with so many other people. It's risky to go to the bathroom at night, you know. And that's where the safety, dignity, if you can have it in your own house. Imagine you have an ensuite in your bedroom, Apple. There are people who go how far to take a shower.
And on top of that, they pay.
There are people who pay.
Pay per use.
Per use.
Per person.
Per person.
A family of 4. And of course, you know, every day, the first thing in the morning is you will need a bathroom.
Yeah.
How many other times do you need a bathroom? If you're staying within this environment, you will have to pay every time you use a bathroom. And what kind of bathroom are we talking about? What kind of toilet facility? It's not a clean toilet facility.
Yeah.
So there are many organizations that have come and you know, tried to set up some clean toilets and all, but it's still a huge gap.
Yeah.
We talk about we don't have open defecation, but is it decent defecation that we have?
Exactly.
You know, and so on. So in this musical, because you look at our historical political journey, I'm sure you'd be able to tell, we can see the kind of decisions that are being made over the years that have led us to us being here. Whereas our potential would have been that as many people, over 90% of our population is living in a decent house today, that over 90% of even rural, urban population have some level of dignity. We have very many who don't have that dignity. And it's because of governance. And it's because of the years that we've had since that moment of independence. And we said, now we shall rule ourselves, we shall determine our own future and our fate. But we failed to do that.
The constant from the beginning, even the Mama Kenya in the play, she talks about the shanty where she was living, okay? And she continues on. And even her children are talking about the slums and the poor governance and how they've not been able to afford much. So when you talk of housing, when you talk of school, when you talk of healthcare, all of that, the disintegration and the lack of access to all of these things. So then what life are we living? And when you talk of leadership, what is this leadership? What is it providing? If anything, we have lost. We didn't have the best. We had something, but we have lost
we didn't build
so
up on
much
what we had.
more. So what needs to happen moving forward so that we can be able to have access to these things and affordable access to these things and things that give people dignity. People can be able to, you know what you were talking about, earlier on a break, that you go to the bathroom in your own house, and an interview a place that you were at, and somebody said, "Oh my God, to have a bathroom in my house." And many people don't think about that. But it is such a big deal, you know? So we have to think about things like those. How are we dignifying people? How are we lifting the lives of people to what we consider basic?
Yep.
That basic is not a shanty.
No.
That basic is a roof, it's a wall, it's a bathroom in your house, it's food, access to food. Healthy food, not that has been grown in a sewerage just next over there. And you're not having to beg for it, but it's healthy food that doesn't make you sick. And that you can afford at least to have one good meal a day, if not three, one good meal a day.
It's dignity, and it's what people deserve. And I think even then we were now talking about policy. I think just before Mariam kind of gave us those insights from that side. I wonder whether sometimes with a play like this one, with a musical, whether you think it can realistically have any, policy influence or change, whether that's the kind of impact you're looking for. So take us through what more, beyond telling the story. Is there a part of you that's saying, does it, because it lands on policy moments. Everything you've just talked about, that's a policy moment. Or rather, it's something that should inspire a policy moment. But how do you reconcile that with purely just telling the story?
So let me elevate that.
Okay.
Where the way things are right now, we've seen a lot of stadiums being built, for games. And then even when politicians are coming to a county, there's a visit to some place, who do they bring? A band to sing, to entertain. But we're not looking at what is in the music. We're not looking at where are these people practicing from, what else are these people doing when they are not performing at a national event, okay? So we need to move beyond, and stadiums are good. I don't have a problem with stadiums. They're good. But we need to do more than stadiums. We need to build theaters. We need to build social halls. Let's bring them back. Where did they go? Let's reclaim those places. And I think my hope with even a play like this is that we begin to get that conscience that we need to open up spaces for arts, right? Spaces where young people can build their skill, can build their talent. Because when you're forming businesses to import things and sell, what other things are people doing, you know? There's so much they can do with their hands. They have energy, they have time. They can self-employ. And this can be done in so many places. It can educate, with the sports, with the arts. In sports, even in art, you can educate. But you have to have spaces for rehearsals, you have to have spaces for meetings, and not KICC. They have to be just within the neighborhood,
right,
where people can come, the kids can come, watch something, talk about it, have a discussion, engage in a game, do aerobics, do acrobatics, you know. Move your body, move your body. Even older people, move your body, right? But without these spaces, we're losing on green spaces. We're losing out on this. We've lost our social halls. We don't have recreational spaces. Even construction places that are coming up, they don't have these spaces, green spaces. And when they do, it's like an afterthought. Even spaces for children playing football, for crying out loud. I mean, your 5, 6, 10-year-olds playing apple kwa mtaa in the neighborhood. We need to have spaces like this. So in terms of policy, at a level where, like what we do at Power, is you engage, continuous engagement with, and asking for these things at county level, at national level as well, because this is Kenya National Theatre, but it's only in Nairobi. It's not like it's a theatre that is moving. And even if that is the case, then where every county needs to be very conscious about that, create those spaces, because art is life. We consume art everywhere, everyhow. It's in a matatu, you're reading something, you're laughing about something. Art is everywhere, it's all around us, and we are consuming it.
I really like that.
So is there a point of a call to action in the musical, whether direct or indirect? You know, that in the way it's scripted, it gets to a point where it pauses and makes you think, okay, this is the moment for me to do something, to think about something.
You remember I said when the play begins, you're all in this matatu. Like, fasten your seatbelt, guys, tunaenda. So the thread in the play is how we behave as passengers, as citizens in this case. So passengers equal citizens.
Yeah.
So how have we been behaving all this time? What is distracting us? Even when there have been moments of coalition to say that, guys, this is the one thing we want.
Yeah.
Think of 2002. Think about the Constitution. What can we rally behind? So when you come out of this play, you need to come out with a very personal conscience and decision of what your role as a passenger is. Because united, we can do so much, right? We stood together and we rejected the finance bill, 2024. 2025, but 2024, we stood united and said, we don't want this. In 2002, when during elections, we stood together, united, and we agreed that this is the way we want to go as a nation. And even when that government came into place, we started seeing things happening. We were arresting police who were asking for bribes. Do you remember that? We were arresting police who were asking for bribes. We were saying, apana, unaitisha hongo kwa nini? And we would take them in. But that didn't go far. Yeah. So we have a very broken system. But while Ruto is at the top, it's you and me.
Yep.
It's you asking me for a bribe. It's me giving you a bribe. It's you refusing to do the right thing. Lazima tufuate sheria.
Yeah.
So it's got to start with us. But more importantly, as we fuata sheria, it's also that we ensure that we are in tandem with our constitution, because that's the overarching, that's our Bible, that's the thing, that's our Bible, that's our Quran, that's the thing that unites us. Everything else we can do differently, but there we have an agreement. We have a social contract, we have an agreement of how we should live and regard each other. And that's the only thing that is our protection. And that's why Kenya stands today as a country that is united, as a country that is still at peace. And I say still very carefully, because if we don't protect what we've got, very easily we will lose it.
Yeah.
I mean, Tanzania looked like, you know.
Yeah, they could never ever.
However, but look where it is now. So we've got to protect this, and we've got to be very intentional, because just like that. And those comforts that we've given ourselves, that, you know, me, I can afford this, I can do this, I can drive, I can park, I can take my children to private school. Right now, I mean, the whole education, let's not even go there.
We have lamented for 3 weeks. I like somebody once put it, private solutions for public issues.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
And they are
normalized.
very, very extremely costly.
Yes.
Because it's just a facade. We sit here and we think that you are okay. You're not.
not.
It's just
You're
one.
not.
It'll take one moment,
event,
yeah.
just one
You're
moment,
a
and
phone
you
call
are
away from poverty.
Yeah.
Medically, school-wise, you are just a phone call away.
People use the unfortunate incident that happened with the boxer, the heavyweight boxer from the UK. And it became a big conversation. They were like, you came to Nigeria and you experienced the public issues on the roads. Big as you are, the reality is that when it comes to rubber meeting the road, every one of us,
Yes. Yep.
it could be any of us. And he lost people very close to it. But I remember it sparked this conversation in the country about this is what we mean when we say fix the public issues.
Yes.
Because even somebody with a fast, expensive car who has all the money, he met, his
Even a
colleagues met
chopper.
their fate.
Yeah.
Then a chopper.
Yeah.
So you're right, it is a facade in
But,
some ways.
Njeri, do you get a sense that sometimes we are not ready, we are not prepared to actually take the responsibility as citizens to build our nation?
I think so. Because we look for quick fixes. I mean, like you said, private solutions. We run to quick fixes, and it's whatever is inconveniencing me, I fix that. That's why people want CDF to continue, because nineza get dough. I don't care about the rest of you. We've become a very me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm connected.
I'm connected. I know people
I
like
don't care for SHA. If you can just pay for my private
Yeah.
medical.
That's what
In
matters.
fact, SHA is working for me, so mi shauri yenyu mi wacha iendelee. Yeah, you don't care that it doesn't work for all of us, because the more we continue to see solutions for ourselves, see individual selves, and that are not beneficial to others, the more we're becoming a more man-eat man society.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the call to action for this is that let's become one. Yeah? So that when I fight for myself, I'm fighting for you. I'm not fighting for just me. And that when I win, we all win.
Yeah.
Okay? If healthcare works in this country, it's not just working for me. If the education system is fixed, it's not just working for me. All right? It's working for all those millions of children that do not have access now, or that are struggling to fit into grade 10, or that even struggling to get to a school. Yeah? There's so much corruption, and I say this without any fear. There's so much corruption to get your child placed in school.
Oh.
People are selling positions to enter school now. So if you don't have, it depends with your negotiating power. I heard about a story, somebody's asking for even as much as 400,000 to give you access to
And you'll pay school
a public school.
And they'll pay.
Yes.
And
So
they'll pay.
the thing is, there's always somebody to pay, which means those who can't afford it will always be stuck.
We'll be locked
Exactly.
out.
Yeah.
We are not ready. We are not ready to face this thing. And maybe sometimes we just need to force ourselves into doing these things. Those things that are giving people conveniences so that we, especially those so-called middle class. And remember, Siti Mugai always kept saying, we don't have a middle class in this country. It's, you guys are all liars. Middle class what? You are not middle of what? You are just poor. You're just, it's like what Museveni was just saying. You're just a taller midget.
Oh, wow.
You're not yet tall. No.
Taller midget.
You're just taller than the rest of us who are all short people. Now, education, for example, and healthcare. These things have gone private over time, and every new system is trying to push you into looking for the private solution.
More private.
Because look now, it's grade 1 to 9, a lot of it was private. Many people, we think about private as the high cost. You go to every part of this country and you'll find there's a public school and then there's 3 to private schools, whether it's from kindergarten to grade 1 to 6. This one have gone out from 6 to 7, 8, and to 9, and so on. This chaos that we are seeing now in the transition to grade 10, you will see more schools coming to offer the secondary education. Because previously what we had is many private primary schools.
Right.
And then all of you now start fighting and paying 400,000 shillings to go to the good public schools. Now the public schools, people are going to create the secondary private schools.
Yeah.
Shida iko hapo. We need to force all ourselves to go to public.
Yeah.
Come with all those things, right to, I have a right to invest, I have a right to make a choice. No, you don't have a right. You have a right to go to public school as a first choice.
Yeah.
You do.
As a first
And
choice.
for us, the good schools then are the same good schools today.
Yes.
They are.
Like
We have-
we're fighting to take our children to the same schools we went to because they were good then. So now,
What happened?
have there been no construction of other schools?
Njeri, we wish we could have kept Njeri for like a whole other hour and done commentary, but that's Njeri Mwangi. The Matu musical is in theater. Thank you so much for coming. We're now going to cross back over to State House. Mariam Bishar is on standby to continue the conversation on the launching of graduate interns this morning.